Hi, this is Alvin with KickstartCommerce.com, and I'm live here in Las Vegas at NamesCon 2018. And here with me, I have Ethan Berle and Dave Thompson from Flye, a marketing services company. And so I know some of you are wondering, why are they even here? Well, here's the deal. So emoji domains are a hot topic here at NamesCon 2018. That being said, their company actually is establishing themselves with emoji marketing services. And so one of the things that they've done so well, and you've likely seen it with the flame emoji, and you're going to see it with many others here pretty soon in the coming weeks. And so Ethan, Dave, thanks for taking this interview with me. Tell me a little bit just about yourself, who you are, what you do, your company. Tell me a little bit about who Flye is.
Sure, I'll go first. Well, I'm Dave, CRO of Flye. With Flye, we use geo-targeting. We created a platform that uses geo-targeting that is able to put brands in front of their target person or target customer on social media without the need of hashtags, keywords, and things of that nature. So we're able to specifically target areas where a company's target audience will be located and posting on social media.
Gotcha.
And I'm Ethan. I'm CTO. I handle all the tech stuff. And I should also mention we have two more co-founders in our company that are at home. But we're the ones who are normally run the emoji domain side of the house, which I know is the part that we really are about to dive into and talk about. But just like Dave was saying, our technology basically is all about helping brands reach their target customer, and we're excited to talk about how emoji domains are playing into that in terms of the messaging and also in terms of the tracking. You know, who are the customers that are clicking on these, and how many conversions are they getting and where? That's all information that we're using the emoji domains to help us better understand.
Gotcha. So it's not that you specialize in emoji domains. It's really that, hey, we're a marketing services company who happens to know a bit about emoji domains.
Right, and I think we're using it in ways that people out there aren't using them at all.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So we could use ugly or standard kind of domains. It's just that we've seen the emoji domains really help when it comes to a brand trying to reach their customers. It's more fun, it's more attention grabbing, and also it's a lot shorter. And a lot of the people that we're trying to reach out to are on their mobile phones, on social media. And if you can have a single little image be a link instead of a 6 or 7 character or much longer type domain name, that's where the real value comes in. That's where we're seeing a lot of brands like to use these.
Right. So when you say like the ugly link, like what is an ugly link?
So like a bit.ly link.
Okay.
So we've worked with brands who were running these different campaigns using our platform. Want to send out bit.ly links to drive website conversions or let people know about their event calendar or just new updates that the company is having. Well, then Ethan approached me with the ability of emoji domains. So instead of using those ugly bit.ly links, we turn those bit.ly links into emojis themselves that people can click on.
Nice. And so you turn those links into emojis, and so now they become trackable because you're using bit.ly.
Yes.
And so therefore you look and say, okay, because you're using emoji, that actually creates a more visual appeal than the bit.ly links do by themselves.
Yes, absolutely. It's way better for branding, for marketing. They don't have to use it just on social media. They can use it anywhere that they want to, just to be more brandable. We've seen this in the past with big companies like Coca-Cola, right? They've used emoji domains in the past. But yeah, it's a branding aspect too. It's the awareness, the image that you put out your brand. If you're sending bit links to people, you look like you're spamming people. But whereas you're creating an emoji domain, you're still branding yourselves in ways that people aren't doing.
Right.
And if you think about a lot of the value behind emojis when they go to auction, a lot of it's in memorability, right? If I was going to go for a good .com, fish.com, even if I didn't know what I was going to put there, everyone would say that's really valuable, it's super short, it's one word, it's super memorable.
Right.
A lot of these emoji domains, even if they are on a different TLD, like .ws is one of the main ones, there's 4 or 5 others that are now active as well, that's the only part you really have to remember. Remembering the picture comes naturally to people.
Right.
So it's a 4-character, flame emoji .ws or whatever that emoji we're working with is. 4 characters, super easy for people to remember. super easy for them to type it in when they're on their mobile phone, which is where most of the traffic is coming from anyway. So that's kind of what drove us to those. No one's going to remember bit.ly/QT79Z. So that's what we're trying to avoid.
Right. So then, I mean, yes, you're using these emojis, but where in the world did they come from? Like, who thought up this thing with emoji demands? Who discovered them within y'all's team?
Oh, sure. So about 3 or 4 years ago, I was actually working in a completely different startup company. And that startup company was much more focused on high schoolers, and they're basically making a social network for high school students. One thing that we saw again and again is how frequently people would replace words with emojis just to make the message shorter, more fun, more visual. And it was around that time period when one of my friends inside of that company came to me and mentioned that he had just bought the emoji that's the most frequently used word on all of Twitter, and it turned out to be the heart emoji. And that was the first time I kind of became aware, 3 or 4 years back, that you could get non-ASCII characters in emoji, or not emoji necessarily, any non-ASCII character into a domain name. So I went and I looked at a bunch of them, but didn't really pull the trigger to buy them. And even a week later, when I went to try to get some, a bunch of them were gone. There was sort of a gold rush right at that time period. And so I jumped in, I bought 15, 16, 17 of them myself, trying to aim for like really big brands, really big industries. But it wasn't until a couple of years later now that we're actually putting them to use. I've kind of been holding them feeling like this is surely something really valuable, but how do I actually turn this into money? And that's one of the most awesome parts, I think, for what we're doing is we have basically found a way that emoji domain owners today, even if they want to continue to hold them and own them because they think the value is going up over time, they can basically rent these out to brands to help them run campaigns for a certain amount of time. A lot of the brands we work with, they have an event coming up, and leading up to that event, they want additional press to reach out to their target customer, let them know about it. So we use emoji domains for that. When that time period is up, the owner of the domain is free, of course, to sell, to work with another brand on a different campaign, etc. So it's a way that you can basically be making rent off of your domains.
Gotcha.
That's the kind of the innovation we had around emoji domains. Yep. Probably about 6 or 7 months ago is when we started doing that successfully with brands.
Yep. Wow. So then, obviously, you see the vision,
yeah.
But then what's the challenge to get the emoji domain owners to see that vision?
Yeah. So it's often that we'll have to reach out to somebody and get them on board. So very concrete example, we're working with Phoenix Rising, which is a soccer team in the Phoenix area in Arizona. They were already one of our customers, and we thought, they're sending out these things about their schedule or trying to get people to click on their news site or even watch kind of live feeds of their games. And we thought, their logo is a flaming soccer ball. And so we reached out to, several different combinations of that. Right. And using Whois, standard kind of look up who owns a certain domain service, we found a guy named Previn, who actually is not even in the United States, all the way over in Europe. And we reached out to him directly and started a conversation. At first, he wanted to sell, and he's very used to people kind of reaching out and saying, hey, can I buy this domain? Just like all those years when I owned my own emoji domains, I was very used to once or twice a month someone reaching out and saying, hey, how much for this one, how much for that one? I never really came to any deals because most of the people that were reaching out were individuals. They wanted to pay $50, $100, right. And I was thinking,
thinking thousands,
tens of thousands, because I really felt like over time it will grow. I still very much believe that, and we can talk about that in a minute. But so Previn wasn't really on board with the idea of selling, and as I tried to convince him over about renting, it took several back and forth. But basically, what I said was, if you have a house in an area of the country where the real estate market's really growing, but you don't necessarily know how to sell that house right now because that takes a lot of work to go and make those deals yourself. Renting is actually a great option. The value's going up over time, but you're making money immediately. You don't have to worry about the registration cost that hits you every year, things like that. Right. And so once we got Previn on board, he actually said, by the way, guys, I actually own 8 or 9 others. And so,
so you uncovered a gold mine.
Oh yeah, we often find that someone who owns one, that's not the only emoji domain they went out and bought. When they got hip to the idea of this being possible, they often go out and get 6 or 7 or combinations combinations of them. So.
Wow. So we hear from the emoji domain owner side in terms of what the challenges are, but what are the challenges in terms of the brands? What challenges are you faced with trying to get brands to commit to such, I guess you'd say, a new technology, a new vision of marketing?
I think the challenge is the fact that it's so new. A lot of people don't want to be that first guinea pig to say, is this something that I want to try? We've had clients that we've approached with using this as even an upsell, and they're sort of hesitant. They don't know if the emoji fits their brand, or they don't know if they like it. But at the same time, those are the same people that were sending Bitly links too. So really just trying to convince them that it's a cleaner way of engaging. It's relevant for social. It's a lot of positives that outweigh the negatives. It's brandable. It's a quick. We can track it on our ends as well. So for us, it's another some other data that we can track without along with the other analytics that we're giving. We can also give you CTR, click-through rates. So that's why it's helpful. And then I think it takes some convincing, but that's just selling in general, selling something new. So I think that when they get on board and they see how we're tracking, how we're doing it, then they're pretty much sold from there, and they don't want to let it go.
Wow. And so you had mentioned Phoenix Rising. So how long have you guys been, I guess, partner or in agreement with them? I think it's been sometime on the other side of 2017, right?
Right. Yeah. So we were working with them for the latter part of 2017. Maybe about for 6 months we started working with them. So during that time, during our contract with them, they were able to get the flame emoji. So they were using it not only to run different campaigns through our platform, but also just in general. So general posts that they were doing on Twitter, on Instagram. We've seen other websites like YouTube that they were using them on. Like Ethan said, they were using it to stream their sites, use it to drive their blog or their newsletter. So they were using about 5 different variations of emoji domains.
Wow.
They had /newsletter, /blog, /schedule. So they were using it in different type of ways on different mediums. So that was good that they sort of stretched out to get just test it and see how it would work, and it worked pretty well for them.
So then, knowing that they used all these various, I guess you'd say, channels or opportunities in using emoji domains, so I guess you were tracking each one of those channels in terms of what it produced. And so I guess from an emoji customer or brand, what do you present them with?
Well, we present them the ability to run the campaigns using our platform is using emoji domain. They're able to reach more people. So not only are they able to reach people that they probably weren't able to reach before, but also they're driving attention to their website, they're driving attention to their blog with this new way.
Right.
So we're able to reach massive amounts of people in different areas of the world, which a lot of companies get really excited about, because now they're broadcasting their brand. Now they're getting their brand out there to people in the real world that they probably never were able to do before. And it's interesting.
And how are they able to monitor their stats then?
Yeah, so I can talk to that. On the technical side, we track where our different link clicks coming from, so we can literally make a heat map of what areas of the city. For Phoenix Rising, we gave them back a map and said, here's where your fans are.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Because this neighborhood, you got 30 clicks here, and this neighborhood over here, you got only 1 or 2. We can literally give them a heat map of where their fans are. And in fact, right now we're working with certain restaurants who are looking, where should I open a new location? We'll have them send messaging to many different potential locations, see where they actually have customers clicking. So, we can see where people are coming from. We can see how many different clicks. Like Dave had mentioned, there's the emoji domain itself, but just like any normal domain, you can have many different paths after that. So we'll often use those different paths to A/B test. Maybe you're trying to figure out, should I say a message about my coupon, or should I say a message about an upcoming event? And we can just give you different paths, and you can do those messages. Right. We can say, this is how many people click this one, and this is how many people click that other one.
Right.
The other information we look at is referrer information. So where was the person coming from when they clicked that? And that's how we in fact found for Phoenix Rising some unexpected things, like their fans had thought this was such a cool thing. They were using an emoji domain. they actually had posted it on Reddit and had a whole discussion on Reddit completely separate from what the team themselves were doing.
Wow.
And they were also sharing it on their own tweets and things like that. We could basically show the brand, here's where people are visiting your link from. So kind of all of those different types of analytics, we give that to the brand. We also give that back to the owner of the domain if they are a partner that we've been renting with.
Right.
And in fact, they use that to turn into a case study when they want to either sell or they want to rent their emoji out again in the future. They can say, look, in the past, I've driven thousands of clicks and here's the type of people it reached, etc. They can basically have numbers they can point to.
Right.
Wow, so you provide both the emoji domain partner that's leasing the domain to a brand, as well as the brand itself. You provide them, I guess, with weekly stats or a monthly report or weekly report?
Weekly report and a monthly recap of pretty much how their entire engagement did for that month.
Okay.
And so like with Phoenix Rising specifically, per week they were averaging in the 500 to maybe 1,000 range of clicks. That's just per week.
Wow.
and that was for probably about 2 months where they did this. So they drove large amounts of people to their site, and I think their following increased dramatically too, just with this new way of engaging.
Wow. And I know that you mentioned Phoenix Rising, so one of the things is they've been so graciously enough to provide us a sample report of what they provide a customer. And so below the video, we'll have a link that you'll basically have to log into kickstartcommerce.com and download this sample report. I've taken a look at the report. It is actually phenomenal data. Like I said, refer data, as well as the heat map, as well as just how well each, I guess you'd say, advertising opportunity produce results. Now, kind of shifting gears, like I know you've done Phoenix Rising, but you also talked about, or rather, I think I even saw like a women's travel or something on Twitter. Like, how in the world did you find this customer?
Yeah, so I should actually mention that it was one of our partners who isn't here tonight. This Alex, one of our other co-founders, he had been in communication with a set of really cool tech companies all around the world. One of them is this women's travel brand named Jozu. The goal that they have is to help women travel more safely. So they're looking for a very specific targeted type customer, and that's exactly what our platform is good at helping people find. The customer they're looking for is women who are maybe just out of college to kind of middle age zone, who are frequent travelers and who want to make sure they travel safely. So they have a survey that's all about when you visited this resort in this other country, did you feel safe? Was the area surrounding safe? That type of thing. And what they wanted us to help them do is get lots of responses to that survey and kind of build up a database so that when they have their app completely finished, they have a user base already ready. And so we've been helping them send out that type of messaging, and one thing that we've been doing is working with an emoji domain. The airplane emoji domain right now redirects to them. And this kind of is back to that point of multiple paths to test different messaging. They probably have 6 or 7 different messages, trying to figure out what's the best way to really ask and reach people. And also even for different areas of the country. If they're talking to people in New York, they want to use one message. If they want to talk to people in LA, they're using a different message. And so we can see how many people are coming from where and what message is getting the best response. They update that literally every week. What is the best message that they should be sending to get the best click-through rates? And we've been getting on the order of 30 to 40 new people to come in and actually fill out their survey daily. And so that's another one that is currently actively running. I think right now we have about 6 different clients that are using emoji domains, including right next door. Right now we're in the Tropicana. Right next door is Hooters Casino and Hotel, and they're actually using the cash emoji because they're trying to promote a new win $1 million type game that they have. They're trying to talk to anybody right here in the couple blocks of where we are. It's just very coincidental that NamesCon is happening right now, right here. And then another one that is currently active right now is the microphone emoji. The microphone emoji .ws is being used to promote an upcoming music festival with like the Foo Fighters, Ozzy Osbourne, a lot of really big name rock people all the way out in Florida. So those are just kind of a few different examples. People who are trying to find their target customer when their target customer is very specific, either location or demographics wise. People that are trying to get the word out, but there's some reason why location really matters, like that music festival. They can say these are the areas around the city that we know customers could actually be coming from. So those are some of the examples of how people are using that right now.
Wow. So you definitely have a growing customer base. So then, in terms of the engagement length, because I know you just mentioned a music festival is using it, and obviously a music festival does not go all the way through the year. Probably could, but likely is a chance it's probably only going to have maybe a couple of months lead up time. You have the event, and that's it. So how does that impact your offering in terms of the length of engagement that you're able to do with customers? So are customers looking to do a year, 9 months, 6 months, 3 months? What are the deals looking like?
So we sort of add this to our offering. So like I said, we sort of use it as an upsell potential with the client.
Okay.
So we'll have a sort of like an emoji domain sort of deal for them. Like maybe they'll do 3 months where they can run it, test it, see if they like it and want to extend. And then, like you said, a lot of event companies, they'll have event and then they'll transfer. So like the microphone is one that can sort of scale around any type of customer in that industry.
Right.
So if they do decide not to use it, we can offer to another one that we might already be working with or might not be working with yet. So that's one that's pretty universal. Stack of Cash is another one that's pretty universal. I think the ones that we have access to now are universal enough that if any of our clients do not want to use it, another one could possibly jump on and use it. But I think, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I was just going to say the main types of customers that we're working with are ones who typically have live events.
Yeah.
So whether that is a music event
Right.
or a sporting event or even conferences like the very conference we're at right now,
Right.
those are all kind of live events where they have a lead up time. We're trying to get people aware of it, sell tickets during the event time where you want to be talking to people that are actually attending, and then after the event we often provide analytics on how the event went.
And sometimes a lot of our clients, even if they're not event focused, they'll use it for a specific campaign. So if they're promoting or they're focusing on a certain campaign, they'll use this for however long that campaign will run. Once that campaign is over, they might want to use another domain for another campaign. So it depends on
So
the
it just
client.
varies.
Yeah, it varies
Probably
now.
based upon their business need, their business goals that they
Right.
hope to achieve, and then that just kind of sets the timeline. And likely is the case also the result.
Right.
I mean, you start getting results, I don't think you'll walk too far away from
Right.
what you've produced.
You want that.
Right.
Yes.
And so that being said, I know you said live events, but typically, based on y'all's experience, obviously it's still new. What industries have you found to be the best fit so far in terms of emoji domain?
Sports and music, I would say. Sports and music, I mean, even hospitality, there's room for that, but I would say sports and music just because in those spaces, there's always activity going on.
Mm-hmm.
Social media is really popular in those spaces as well. So if they're able to gain traction on social, it helps them in the long run at the same time. So I would say sports and music, and from sports it can be like teams, it can be specific athletes. From music it can be a band, it can be the company that's putting on the show, it can be the venue itself. But I think all of those see really good traction in the emoji space.
So then, in terms of brands, like how difficult, how easy is it to get started with you all?
It's really easy. All you have to do is go to Flye.co and request a demo, and then we'll get you set up from there.
Flye.co, Flye.co.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Flye. That's, man.
And the onboarding, working with us, we're a real hands-on team. We have a good staff of strategists that work directly with different clients, help them from anywhere from trying to map out what their campaign should be,
Okay.
Different strategies on how they can see success, and then also we'll include things like the emoji domain and other tracking that can help them sort of measure the impact of our tool and the platform and the emoji capability and anything else that we're offering.
Right, so you can give pretty much marketing service in its entirety, pretty much almost like 360 degrees type servicing to a customer. Now, kind of shifting gears, because obviously you have the emoji domain owner who's going to say, well, how hard or how difficult or easy it is to get started. So what's their path?
Yeah, definitely. So sometimes we'll reach out to them directly if there's a really good one. For example, I mentioned with Phoenix Rising, because their logo is a flaming soccer ball, the flame emoji made perfect sense. but often we'll also have a few kind of in our back pocket that we worked with before. And as Dave said, if you own the microphone when whatever contract we had is up because that concert has actually happened, it won't take us very long to say, by the way, we have another music festival coming up over here. And so for certain of those that are in the industries we have a lot of customers in already, you can pretty much almost continuously have rent coming in. For others, we might have to say, we'll keep you in the back of our mind. As the right customer comes in, we'll be able to match you up with it. So, it really depends on what brands and what clients we're working with right now at any given time. But the more general the domain is, of course, the easier it is to kind of have it continuously working for you.
Right.
And right now, we've been able to, all the ones I had mentioned that were specific, except for the cash emoji, which I personally own, all the other ones were ones that we in fact are renting and partnering with people, and those are partners from all over the world.
Oh, nice.
And one other thing I should say is some of them, instead of reaching out to them directly, they'll be hosting their emoji domain on a service that helps sell it and kind of does that legwork for them. We partnered with several of these different services. I think you can mention some of them when you write out the blog. But we look at those ones first as kind of ones that are easy for us to work with because we already have made connections into the owner of those platforms. So those are the ways that we're often finding the emoji domain owners. And then of course, once a deal has been agreed upon, what type of messaging is this actually going to help them grow their brand? That's very important. We always tell them exactly how we intend to use it and for what duration we're thinking about, although often it's at least for this duration and probably more after that. So we'll tell them what duration, what type of messaging we're going to send, how we're going to use it, what the brand that they're working with is, all of that information. If they like all that and they're in, it's actually very quick on the technical side. It takes them 10 minutes or less to add an A record to just redirect their domain to our tracking servers. And then from that point on, we handle everything with the brand in terms of what links do you actually want it to be hitting, and they can even change that week to week if they have, this week I want it to be hitting my newsletter, this week I want it to be hitting my stream of the game, whatever that is. The brand themselves gets to decide that.
Nice. Well, then kind of changing gears again and looking forward, obviously emoji domains in terms of their usage, in terms of just being a new technology in and of itself. So obviously we're in the infancy stage, but you guys as innovators, working with different brands, working with different emoji domain owners to bring forth, I guess you'd say, this new marketing vision, like where do you see emojis headed? Like in terms of usage, in terms of value, in terms of just kind of upending marketing. So, is it one of those things that, will they be used? Do you see them used as primary websites? Do you see them used as supplemental or secondary websites? Like, what and where do you see them headed?
Yeah, I think going forward, emoji domains will be primary websites. I think a lot of people, it is still early, it's still in the infancy stage. But for instance, I have a friend that works for a tech company, it's a bike company back in DC, and she runs the city marketing for the bike company. I told her how we're using emoji domains, and she immediately, bought onto it and thought it was a good idea. And the next day, she purchased the bike emoji to drive people from the site. Use the bike domain to drive people to the site and just using it as a citywide marketing campaign. So I think going forward, it's going to push technology. I think a lot of even social platforms haven't adapted domains, like making domains clickable, but especially the emoji domains.
Right.
So I think that's sort of a struggle with it, but I think it will push technology. It'll push the devices that we use from Windows to Mac as people are on these devices on their laptop or desktop to be more emoji efficient as well. So I think going forward, maybe 3 to 5 years, I think emoji domains will be the wave of the future.
Yeah, and exactly like Dave said, right now, the only thing holding that back is kind of the technological limitations. And that will, of course, change as these get more and more accepted, as they sort of jump the gap from right now only techie and marketing nerds kind of know about it to mainstream America used to seeing these things, used to really big brands working with them, which is exactly what we're trying to help make happen. But like right now, Twitter, you can click an emoji link just fine, and it's great, and we can track which tweets are converting best for you. You know, LinkedIn also, Facebook and Instagram, you can post it, but you're not able to click it yet. They don't allow that yet. And we think that as they become a lot more popular, that might be something that they change. But to that point, when we send out messaging that is on Instagram, we actually do see people typing it into their browser because that we can see the refer information where they're coming from. There actually are a fair number of people that will type it into their browser, and that's because they're so short. And on mobile devices, it's actually not that hard to type in a single emoji.
Very mobile,
you know,
exactly.
And so also to that point, Dave mentioned that it's hard to type it in on a Windows laptop right now. If you're on a Mac, you probably can type in emojis. That's something that we think will also change as emojis in general become more popular. But for the time being, it might be hard to have that be your primary site since only people on mobile can directly type it in. But it's great, and it's absolutely great, and this is how we're using it right now as a link to grab people's attention and redirect them to where your main site currently is. So exactly like Dave said, I think probably in 3 to 5 years, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how the ecosystem changes. These could be great primary sites because it is so short, so easy to remember. But for the time being, they're probably best used as a kind of marketing tool.
Gotcha. So supplemental marketing, at least for now, until things kind of progress in such a way that they offer or present the opportunity to be a primary site.
Exactly.
Well, gentlemen, it's been a privilege to interview you. Thank you, like I said, for making time and taking time out of your busy schedule to come here out to NamesCon 2018 and be a part of it. And I definitely appreciate, like I said, your innovative thinking. You're out there pioneering something that, you know, most people are like, I have an emoji domain, now what? And so you all are filling the gap to go, now what? Here's what, with what you're doing with Flye. So definitely thank you, Ethan. Thank you, Dave. And so, like I said, at the below this video, you'll find a link that you can actually click on and download one of their example reports that is sent to a brand. And so I hope and I encourage you to do that and take a look at it. And if you're an emoji domain owner, definitely feel free to get in contact with them. Like I said, even if nothing more than just to discuss the possibilities or the opportunities. That being said, I'm going to get back to NamesCon 2018. And like I said, stay tuned for more interviews. Thanks.